have a nap that takes you to an entirely different dimension, and when you wake up, you're still half there. That's what I'm coming off of in this moment right now. So if I'm a little spacey, it's because I'm in space. So hello, friends. I hope life is being at least a little bit kind to you in this moment. I got a thing, and it hit my heart right here in the sort of relatability sector of it. And I thought I would vomit some thoughts at you. What do you guys want me to vomit some thoughts at you? Because I'm gonna vomit some thoughts at you, maybe some feelings too. Strap in. Hey, Connor. Hi. I know this is a foolish thing, but I always base my worth on how useful I am to others. Whenever I do things, it's for other people rather than for myself. As a grown human who is trying to find their place in the world, that makes it kind of hard to do that. I was just wondering if you had any experience with that and maybe taking steps in the right direction. Thank you, and I hope you're having a good day. I am having a good day. Thanks for hoping that for me. I am having a good day. Straight up, I used to think I had to die for everything and everyone. Casually. Like, I just was so ready to lay my life down just for everyone and everything in the world that was happening in my life. It was just about that. Ready to die for him. I am naturally kind of a givey person. And I'm also naturally kind of one who diminishes my own value in situations. Case in point, my entire body of work on YouTube. I used to post videos 2 times a week, giving advice, talking about heavy subjects, twice a week, regardless of the circumstances of my life. Self-care is a pretty new concept to me, so yeah, I relate to this. I'm just gonna say a thing. Straight up. You do not have to, die for anyone. You don't have to die for anyone. And I'm repeating that just so you get it, that you don't have to die for anyone. It's like a tricky feedback loop, right? Because when I was a little kid, and I helped someone out, or I did a good thing, or whatever, I was positively reinforced. It was like, cool, nice job, you made that person feel better, or you helped that situation, and it became kind of like a dopamine hit that I would seek after, to the point that was like the only way I could feel like I was a good person. I'm also a results-based individual as well, and that can be problematic when it comes to matters of the feelings. And part of it stems from a desire to do good and to be good. The other part stems from just a need to feel useful. And it all goes back to a cute little friend of mine, and I'm sure a lot of you know him too. Insecurity. It's purely, for me, been an experience in insecurity. It's 100% that. I don't feel good about myself. I don't feel good about where I stand in this world around me. I don't feel good about my life or the things that I'm feeling or thinking. So the way I combat that is to just build a concrete body of work, of things that I'm doing that I can point at and be like, no, look, it's not all bad, look at that stuff. The problem is insecurity is often not rational. And when you try and combat that with rational things like giving of yourself so much, it's never going to solve the problem. It's like putting a Band-Aid on, say you got mauled by a bear. Right, mauled by a bear, and by mauled I mean it took your arm clean off, and it's just gone. Gone because the bear took it, because the bear's a bear. Why were you so close to a bear? Maybe it's your fault. Bear took your arm off, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna fix this by putting a Band-Aid on it. It's not gonna fix the root cause of the issue, which is that a bear just took your arm. Your insecurity is the bear, and the Band-Aid is this need to be useful. Do you see what I'm saying here? It's not gonna fix it. It's not gonna help. You need medical attention, number one, sometimes, in both of these scenarios. And you also need to, stop the bleeding. Holy crap, stop the bleeding. I'm a very prideful individual, and sometimes I refuse to let myself in on the fact that I'm not as happy as I could be. It kind of feeds to that feeling of just focusing on others and not myself so much that a lot of times I'm very uncomfortable, but I won't allow myself to emote that. And because of that, things don't get fixed, things don't get addressed. My arm is still bleeding, and I'm gonna die, and I don't wanna die. What started me at least attempting to be better at this, because it's ongoing. It's ongoing. What started me getting better at this was just reminding myself of the simple fact that I cannot help others if I myself have not helped myself. Maybe I can try, maybe I can have little victories here and there, but I'm nowhere near as effective or useful as I could be if I'm not well myself? The second part to that, and there is a second part because while that sounds all nice and good and final, that's not the complete picture. The second part of that is remembering and recognizing that you are not responsible for the well-being of other people. You're not. You do not have to fix other people. You don't have to save the world. Everyone is responsible at the end of the day for their own health and well-being and where they stand in this world. That's why it's so amazing when people go out of their way to help and do things that they don't have to do. Because they don't have to do it, and it just helps this world get nicer and kinder. Because while we are, in the end, responsible for our own stuff, like bigger picture, greater picture, sometimes we do need a little help. And in those situations, if we're all taking care of ourselves, then we have the ability to then reach out and go above and beyond and do all those things that make being a person okay. When I used to interact with people a few years ago and have friendships or bonds or romantic relationships, anything like that, it's like life and death for me. It was literally that intense. I would often gravitate towards people, and I hate to label people like this, and because I was it myself, but broken. People who were going through hard things, people who were struggling with something. I gravitated towards that because number one, I related to it. And number two, I felt like I could help. And what tended to happen is it just became about how much I could help. That's all that those relationships were. I often call these kinds of friends suffer friends. And these are the friends that pretty much exclusively rely on each other only for going through horrible experiences and kind of leaning on each other. But what you get there is you have two people leaning at this angle. And if one of them shifts or moves in another direction, boom, they both fall. And then they're both being mauled by a bear. And that's not good. If your well-being and your satisfaction with yourself is based on how helpful you are to other people, how useful you are in this world, I would recommend taking a long, hard look at yourself, and anonymous messenger, you're doing that. You're absolutely doing that. Because I think a lot of us as little kids were brought up in environments where it kind of became expected to be like that, and that expectation turned into a compulsion, turned into bad habits, turned into long-term unhealthy patterns that we have in ourselves as adults. And I think that's what growing up is. Right? It's learning about the stuff that in childhood messed you up and then fixing it so that you can overcome it and then be better at it. Because here's the thing, this is the part of the video that gets uplifting. That's not a bad thing at all that you want to help people. Wanting to be useful in this world, wanting to make an impact outside of your immediate sphere is something that is so great. And should not be pushed down. It should be polished and honed into something sustainable, healthy, and just better for everyone involved. What I'm trying to do in my life is take this from a compulsion to be useful and turn it into a desire. And turn it into something that is, yes, intrinsic to who I am as a person, but not something that I need. Needing something from other people is usually a dangerous path. And so I'm trying to avoid that. I'm trying to avoid that stuff. But I believe, perhaps foolishly so, I'm still optimistic about this kind of stuff. And I think that that all of us, if we're asking these questions, if we're talking about these things, if we're working on them, we're gonna get better. I don't know. Maybe that's naive of me, but I still believe in that kind of stuff. Now I'm emotional. Look at that. Ooh, that never happens. Thank you so much for this question. I found it to be a kind of interesting reflection of a lot of themes that are coming up in my life at the moment. If you guys ever want to submit ideas for videos or kind of participate in other videos and anything like that, a really good platform to do that would be on my Patreon page. That's available for anyone who is a pledge there, $1 and up. It doesn't really matter the amount. But I try to use that as best as I can to start these kinds of conversations and reflections and things of that nature. So if you want to check that out, the link is in the description there. I always appreciate your guys' kindness. The past couple weeks have been quite difficult in my life, and I appreciate your understanding of me disappearing for a bit. But I think y'all are on the same page as me, where it's like we both don't really need these videos to come out so often anymore. And isn't that just a great thing? If you have any thoughts on this video or want to make suggestions for other videos, anything like that, any questions you have, please feel free to leave them in the comments or to reach out to me on any of my social medias. I would love to continue conversations and make some stuff together. That's all I got, though. Got a little sweat going, which I find to be a good sign, though it's gross. But yeah, I'm gonna go. I love you guys a lot. Bye.